Okay, a third form of protection, if you can use a diagram to demonstrate, is a subsidy. Subsidy takes a totally different tack to the other two. A subsidy is a cash payment to local producers, which is actually designed to encourage them to produce more product. By increasing supply, it will bring down the price of the locally produced product, making it more competitive with the imports. Okay, first thing we have to recognise, the supply line, the supply schedule for domestic producers, again, is made up of a whole stack of individual firms. So this is the aggregate, this is the potential supply in a marketplace. Now, when the government comes in and it wants to offer cash incentive to people to produce a certain sort of good, the effect will be this. For this particular manufacturer here, giving them cash to produce this product means they're going to produce more of that product. So, at the price that they were willing to enter the industry before, which was here, at that price, now they are prepared to put more on the market because of the cash that the government's given them. This guy up here is a very inefficient producer. He will only come into the industry at this much higher price, but the effect for him is exactly the same. You give him cash and he will put more on the marketplace, into the marketplace at that same price. Now, if you assume that holds for every producer in the industry, what you end up with, after you put your subsidy in place, is a movement in the supply curve to the right. The whole industry now will put more on the market at each and every price. The effect, from the government's point of view, is that for Australian producers, instead of producing at price OP, this equilibrium, the new equilibrium is here. The new equilibrium will be at a lower price of OP1. So this fall in the price of the domestically produced goods is what's making them more competitive with their imported competition. One other thing to realise, how much money did the government actually have to spend to achieve this reduction in price? You measure that by looking at the vertical distance between the two lines. So that amount, measure the actual price off that axis, that amount is the amount of money that the government has to spend. Now you'll notice that if I take this point here, the amount of money that the government has to spend is a lot more than the actual price reduction that you managed to achieve. Now the reason for that is exactly the same as a sales tax in reverse. This producer, given cash, will put more onto the market. It won't necessarily drop their selling price by the full extent of the amount of money they've been given. They will drop it by a proportion, and that will depend on the market conditions, whether it's an elastic market that they're facing, an elastic market. But this amount here is the amount that the government has to spend to achieve this amount of price reduction. It's your effect of a subsidy.